Hello and welcome back everyone. This week I look back at 3 WWF wrestling games on the Super Nintendo. Why 3, do you ask? Well, to be honest, there is such little difference between them all that I felt to do a video on each one would have been silly. So instead, I have decided to cram 3 of them into this one. So here goes. The first WWF game I am looking at is also the first WWF game on the Super NES, and that is Super Wrestlemania. And this game caused quite a stir, but for all the wrong reasons. But before I get into that, let's have a look at the roster. Probably the most important thing in any wrestling game is the roster, and this roster is quite impressive. We have a good selection of wrestlers to choose from. We have the Road Warriors, the Natural Disasters, representing the tag teams, and for the singles we have the likes of Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Jake Roberts, The Undertaker and others. We then have the game modes, and this is where the game caused a bit of a stir. You see, this game is probably best described as a technical demo. There is no real single player campaign. You pick 1 or 2 players. You can then pick 1v1, a tag match or a Survivor Series match. You then select your wrestler, the computer randomly selects an opponent, and you have your match. Each wrestler has the exact same moveset as each other. There are no signature moves here, no hidden combo moves or anything. No wrestler has any different attributes. Earthquake is as fast as Randy Savage. So this begs the question, what was the point of the impressive roster? But when the match is over, the game is over. There is no single player campaign for the title, and the same goes for the tag team mode as well. The game was incredibly limited and only appealed to fans of the WWF. It had zero long-term playability about it, and in tag team mode, when all 4 wrestlers were in the ring, you got some pretty terrible slowdown at times. It was a disappointing game as video games go, but in its favours, it did have some nice visuals and decent sound. These digitised avatars on the wrestler select screen looked brilliant at the time, and the detail on each wrestler was great, especially Hawk and Animal with the shapes on the spandex and their face paint. You even seen the commentators in the background. I'm assuming this is Bobby the Brain Heenan and Vince McMahon. Each wrestler theme was reproduced fairly well and sounds pretty good. But if I am being honest here, I would have thought the SNES would have been able to do a better job than what we got, but overall, the sound was good. So the game had some serious gameplay issues, and this produced a fair amount of reluctance in me when it came to considering another WWF game on the Super NES.
1, 2, 3.
By the time the Royal Rumble came out in the SNES a year later, two things had happened. The first one was that Mega Drive owners got a version of Super Wrestlemania that corrected a lot of the issues from the SNES version. And the second thing was that Street Fighter 2 had been released on the Super NES, which used a 16 megabit cartridge, pushing the price of games up towards £70. And this let other software houses know that gamers would be prepared to pay these high prices for games. LJN used a 16 megabit cartridge for Royal Rumble on the Super NES, and it showed. Each wrestler now had a signature move, although it still wouldn't result in an automatic pin if that's what the move would normally do. But I guess it's all about those baby steps, right? The game also featured a career mode, or a single player mode that was called the Tournament, that allowed for a single player campaign for the WWF title. It also had a triple threat match and a tag team match. But perhaps the best addition was the Royal Rumble match itself. This allowed for one or two players to enter the ring and throw the remaining roster over the top rope and out. But as this is a video game, the match was limited to 6 wrestlers in the ring at any one time. One downside to the 2-player Rumble was that it was incredibly easy to eliminate all the other opponents. By simply having a player at either end of the ring, you would throw or Irish whip them into your buddy, who would then hip toss him out the ring. But in a single player mode it was harder to do that, and so the Rumble was still a worthwhile addition for a single player. Another worthy addition was the ability to cheat. In the Rumble you could choke and rake the eyes of anyone, but in a normal match you could now knock out the referee and then cheat as well. It did provide some good laughs when playing it with mates. Visually, I think this game is less impressive than Super Wrestlemania. The wrestlers look a little less detailed, and everything has this grainy look to them, not as sharp as its predecessor. And at £60 on US import, it was pretty pricey. But I bought this and had nothing but good memories of the laughs we all had when playing it. By the time I got this game, I had the Capcom fighting stick, and so I just switched on the rapid fire when playing the single player mode, and so the game was very easy and finished quite quickly. I had also felt that LJN corrected many mistakes with this one, and I was prepared to give them another go when a new WWF game got released. WWF Raw on the SNES is without a doubt the best WWF game on the Super Nintendo. Based on the popular USA Network TV show, the game still boasted an impressive roster and the same play modes as Royal Rumble, but it now also included a Bedlam mode, and a Raw endurance match. It now includes proper signature move pins if the pin is part of the move. And it also includes cheeky pin covers. For instance, if Diesel beats anyone with his signature move, he simply sits on them with his arms raised. Something else about the game that happened from time to time as well when playing the single player campaign was that during a match you would get a run in from another wrestler, usually someone the wrestler was connected with on the TV show. So if you were Yokozuna fighting Lex Luger, then almost anyone would run in to help Lex. Like here for example. It didn't matter to the gameplay that much, but this kind of thing was common on the TV show, and so it felt like LGN were going all out to appeal to the fans of the show. The game also had these crazy mega moves as well, which made the game feel more arcadey and cartoonish compared to the previous two games. I was never able to execute any of these moves at the time, but I can't say that I ever felt that my enjoyment of the game was diminished by not being able to do them. Visually, this game is about identical to Royal Rumble, and not as sharp as Super Wrestlemania, but also the sound is on a par with Royal Rumble, and so it swings and roundabouts really. I stand by my comment about WWF Raw when I say it's the best WWF game on the Super NES, but I think its appeal is still limited to WWF fans. But I would recommend you give it a go if you have the ability to do so. So now it should be obvious why I covered these three games off in the one video. There just wasn't enough between them to warrant one each, and really, as long as you don't play Super Wrestlemania, I am sure you will get a blast from these old school wrestling games. And that was my look back at WWF Games on the Super Nintendo. I do intend to do a similar video on the Mega Drive WWF Games, but that will be for another time. If you like this video, then please do the usual like, comment and subscribe malarkey, and as always, a massive thank you from me to everyone who has done so already. And that's all from me folks. Thanks for watching.